Okay, so we've called the meeting to order at 6:35. Just one more check for those online. Sue, Larry, you guys can hear us okay?
Yes.
Yep,
Yeah, we can hear you okay, Charlie.
great, thanks.
Yes, can hear you.
All right,
Anita's here with me.
awesome, thank you. So first order of business is to make any changes or additions to the agenda. I just have one under Public Works. Just need to add the annual financial plan for town highways and the certificate of compliance for town road and bridge standards. We'll add that as item 5C. Any other changes or additions, deletions to be made to the agenda? Hey, Mark.
I got a couple things put on here.
Yeah. So as far as additions go, I did add the annual financial plan for town highways and the certificate of compliance for town road bridge standards
Yeah,
on these docs.
yeah.
Did you have other stuff?
I just had personnel to put on at the end or something.
Personnel under Public Works?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we'll add personnel under Public Works, and if we have to kick it to executive session, we can always punt it and do it then.
Yeah.
All right, if there's no other additions or deletions to be made to the agenda, we'll move on to board organization. This is our first meeting after a town meeting. Physical composition of the board has not changed, but we always go through the steps of what we need to do every March. First on the list is oaths of office. Emily, I believe you took your oath of office at town meeting? Okay. So Suzanne, you just gotta make sure it's in the office on the desk. You just gotta sign it in front of either Genevieve or Liz.
Okay.
So sometime this week if you can do it,
Yeah, no problem.
that'd be great. Election of officers. So the officers we have on the board are the chair and the vice chair. Are there nominations for board chair?
Nominate Charlie Hancock.
Any other nominations? Please. All right. Not hearing other nominations.
Not getting out of that.
Yeah, not hearing other nominations. We'll close nominations. All those in favor of Charlie Hancock continuing to serve as board chair, please signify by saying aye.
Hi.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. Well, appreciate your confidence. Nominations for vice chair.
Nominate Leanne.
Suzanne has nominated Leanne. Are there any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Leanne serving as vice chair of the board, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carries. Congratulations, Leanne.
Thank you.
Designation of regular meeting
Do we need
schedule.
to, like, have like a secretary, somebody to take minutes on from the board? Instead of you doing it all?
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
we can. In the past, we've done it multiple ways. The board has had a secretary that was not a board member. The board has also operated with a board secretary that was a member. If we want to elect a board secretary to take minutes, that's totally fine.
I just wonder why our town clerk doesn't come to the meetings. I looked at a lot of these Zoom meetings and the town clerks were there at their meetings. I just wondered why.
Yeah, I mean, the town clerk, in my memory, the town clerks never come and take in minutes at select board meetings.
Yeah, wow, quite a while. They used to.
They used to?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You're in Montgomery, they used to?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I remember the name. Used to,
Would come?
yeah.
All right.
But I'm just thinking if somebody wants to do it on the board, it would save you know, you're running meetings, so
Yeah,
if somebody,
no, well, I would entertain nominations for board secretary.
would you want to?
Do I want to or will I do it? I will
Will
do it.
you do it? Okay.
Is that
So
the
I will
question?
nominate Emily, yes. I'm trying to do it, so I don't get hit.
You are in
Great.
range.
Yeah, I know.
So we have a nomination for Emily for board secretary. Are there any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Emily serving as board secretary, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carries. Congratulations, Emily.
Great, we'll start next time.
Yeah, you start next time.
Perfect.
I'll work on that.
Trying to take a little bit off before this.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Designation of regular meeting schedule, newspaper of record, posting locations. Is everybody okay with maintaining the regular meeting schedule of the first and third Mondays of the month?
Yeah.
Then I would move.
With the exception that when we do that, January always falls, like,
The
we end
holiday?
up hitting
Yeah.
the holidays, and so I don't know if we need to say that with the caveat that, like, if they're, and maybe our schedule fought, like, if the town office is closed, we push the meeting. I'm not sure how to designate, but I know that there were questions as to
Yeah.
why we met on certain holidays and not on
Other.
others, and I feel like that's a fair question to ask, so I think it warrants
Yeah.
discussion when we sort of get into that cycle.
Okay, so what if we did, I would move to designate the regular meetings as being the first and third Mondays of the month, with the exception of state and national holidays.
Charlie, I think Larry's trying to get your attention.
Sorry. Larry, what's up?
Had you considered doing Tuesdays instead? You would avoid almost every holiday. In fact, there's only one holiday coming up on a Tuesday this year, and that's July 4th.
Oh.
I can't do Tuesdays, at least for this season, because I work on Tuesdays.
Okay, so you have a conflict, standing conflict on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Does anybody have, are Mondays bad for anybody, outside of the holiday issue, like, are Mondays,
No.
I mean, it's always been a case of like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we stick with, so I'll reiterate the motion. So I would move that we designate regular meetings to be the first and third Mondays of the month, with the exception of state and federal holidays. In which case, meetings will be rescheduled.
I'd second that motion.
Great. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, we'll vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carries. Newspaper of record. The newspaper of record has been for the past year the St. Albans Messenger. Rationale being it's a bi-weekly, tri-weekly.
The issue I found with that is it's not even in the stores around here. Messenger.
They don't carry it anymore.
No, I haven't
Okay.
seen it. So I'd go for the courier.
Okay. So Mark moves to designate county courier as newspaper of record. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Great. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carries. Posting locations. So the 98 Main Street is still kind of in limbo. We do have the post office in the village and this hall here. We have been using the Jolly board as the third option.
Okay.
If that works, I would move that we designate the town hall, the village library, and the Jolly community board as the posting locations.
The village post office.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Great.
So town hall is this building?
Yeah, the town offices.
Town
Yeah.
office, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. Motion carries. Internal procedures, open meeting laws. This shouldn't be anything new for anybody. If anybody does want to brush up on the I think it's still called the Selectman's Handbook, even though it should probably be like the Select Person's Handbook now.
Yeah.
But if anyone wants to brush up on it, we got copies in the office. Again, open meeting laws, all the meetings that we hold are formal, duly warned open meetings. A quorum of the board constitutes an open meeting, so if there's more than 2 of us in a place, we cannot discuss any public business. The one time this comes up, just as a reminder, is with email, so just avoid using the reply all function. If it's a scheduling matter, then we can use it over email, but anything that covers substantial business or decision making or anything like that, we need to avoid. So again, nothing new for the folks here at the table, just standard operating procedure. Item E here, the areas of responsibility. So like we talked about in the past, this is kind of a, raise your hand if you want to do it kind of situation. If folks have interest in something and are welcome to lead on it, then by all means take the lead on it. Emily's been working a lot on the town website revamp. Suzanne's got the newsletter she's working on. So, if there's subject areas folks are into, by all means step up and run with them. Last is the conflict of interest policy. We've all got signed copies on record from all of us already, so there's no need to sign that tonight, but just remember that policy is still in effect. So that does it for board organization. Next up is notice of appointments. So we do have a number of appointments that have to get made. Starting a year or 2 ago, we, rather than make all the appointments at the first meeting, we put out a list of appointments for a 2-week period to broadcast it and let people kind of come back to us with any interest.
Yeah.
So if there's no objection, what I was going to do is post that, tomorrow or Wednesday. Let people know what the vacancies are, and then at our next meeting we can make those appointments.
Yeah.
Can you email me a copy so I can put it on the newsletter for
Yep.
April? That'll be within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The only appointment that I would like to make tonight is one that has been lingering for a while, and they have a meeting coming up, I think, this week or next. It's for the Northwest Communications Union District legislative body. This has been vacant for a while.
So did it ever get done?
Yeah, Everett got done, and Roger, I think, had some health issues and kind of wasn't involved, and I haven't heard from Ian at all. So Erin Kopax, our treasurer, has agreed to serve in this capacity. She's talked with the board members as well as one of the coordinators, has a good handle on kind of what they're doing, and has volunteered to serve as our representative to the board. So I would move that we appoint Erin Kopax the representative to the Northwest Communications Union District legislative body.
You need a second? Oh, yeah.
Nominations don't require a second.
No.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Aaron serving as the representative to the Northwest Communications Union District Legislative Body, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carries. So I will make a list of the remaining ones that are outstanding and we'll get that posted. Moving on to minutes, approval of minutes. So we need the minutes of March 6th. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of March 6th as written?
I'll make that motion.
Great, is there a second?
I'll second. Oh, sorry.
Each two. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes as written, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that. We'll try it again. All those in favor of approving the minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Aye.
I will. Oh, you abstained. That's right. You were
Oh,
here
yeah.
too.
You were here.
That's right. We
We were
were
both vacation.
We're paying attention.
Yeah, take me back.
Yeah, right.
All right. Motion to approve the minutes of the March 13th minutes as written.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of March 13th. That was last Monday, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
That was a special meeting. Yep.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Leanne. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Excellent. Moving on to Public Works. Mark, just any general updates on things?
No, hopefully, looks like the weather's pretty good. Just the things just
Say that out loud.
to start thawing out slowly, so hopefully next season won't be too bad. We keep our fingers crossed.
Right, yes.
We've had a couple bad years, so hopefully things will go better. There isn't much frost, so that's usually what your culprit is deep frost. So but things go slowly is better.
Yeah.
So,
And without inches of rain.
without inches of rain either.
Yeah.
So
Great.
keep our fingers crossed.
And everything's back with the trucks. They're all back. I mean,
Yep.
I've seen them, but
Yeah.
do we know what happened with the one that went down 2 weeks ago?
I think it was another sensor, and that was under warranty, but it needed a bunch of brake work done, which wasn't under warranty, so I think we had like a $3,000 bill.
Okay.
But the sensor part was under warranty. So it just, I think it needed a whole bunch of brake work done, so we had it done while it was there.
Okay.
And I think there's some more work that needs to be done on that truck. But we're gonna have it done by Valancourt to try to have an estimate. Instead of going to Allegiance, it's a lot more expensive. Valancourt can do a lot of the other work that needs to be done on it to get it inspected. But we're waiting until, we get much season done, or we have a window of time to do it.
Okay. Great.
But we do have a list of what needs to be done to it, so we'll try to get like an estimate
Okay.
before we do it.
Great. There's no other general updates on Public Works. We've got there was the municipal MRPG municipal, it's a stormwater operating permit.
Yeah.
And fee.
Yeah.
So was that part of this?
No, that should be in the warrants. It should be a warrant for that.
Oh, I get it. It's just a fee.
It's just a fee, we don't really have, I think we might already send in the permit.
I think we did too.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just
We
a
already did
fee.
the permit, so this
Okay.
is just the fee of, I have to look on there, it's $1,000 something annual fee. It's due by April 1st.
Okay. Great, so we'll sign that when we get to warrants. All right, the added item here, the annual financial plan for town highways and the certificate of compliance.
We got that.
Do you want to describe?
We make sure we get the right one. Yeah. Had trouble sending them. I kept sending the wrong one. So how I come up with these numbers is, this is what state aid we get per each road, by the miles of road and per mile. And then our town tax funds is added to that, so then you have the total. And then winter maintenance, you usually use like 3/4 of your budget for winter maintenance, and non-winter maintenance is the other quarter of the budget. So that's how I come up with these numbers. So the 29,000 and the 56,000 is what we'll be getting for state aid for the class 2 and class 3 roads. Because we have no class 1 roads. So I'll make a motion to approve the annual financial plan for town highways.
I'll second that motion.
You want to?
I think I got it. Did you send this?
Yes.
Yeah.
I looked at this
Okay.
afternoon.
Great. So we have a motion made and seconded
We'll just have to.
to approve the financial plan for the annual financial plan for town highways. If there's no further discussion, we'll vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carries. We also have the certificate of compliance.
Yes, so this is the town road and bridge standards. There's a list of standards that we go by. And the network inventory is our inventory of culverts and everything. So every year we have to sign this so we can get grant money and say that we go by what the standards are when we repair our roads and stuff.
They're state standards.
They're state standards, yeah. So I'll make a motion to approve the town road and bridge standards and network inventory for 2023.
Great, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Excellent. Is there any further discussion?
Do we need to check one of these do nots?
Well, there is a copy here that is checked to say
Oh.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, yeah,
Do we all sign this?
yeah. I'm gonna
Oh,
sign
so this is just.
Yes, those are just extras.
Yeah.
So this should be
Yeah,
the
sign
same.
it.
Yep, this is just extra. And
So I think that gets us up to date on.
Yep.
On, these plans. And then there's 2 grants that I'm working on. One grant will be for repaving Fuller Bridge Road, which is like a $175,000 grant. I'm not sure what our match will be, but I'm trying to get that for like 2025 or 26, but they tell me to put it in so it shows we have interest. And then there's another grant for $175,000 to replace the culverts and infrastructure replacement. So there's the culvert at the bottom of Fuller Bridge Road, right when you go through the bridge, that I'm gonna apply for too. I think it's gonna need a survey done on it, and so we'll get that sent in. I'll try to have that for the next meeting,
okay, great.
those 2, so we can send them in.
Does that include the road frontage all the way to the, what is it, the repair shop there?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Some
Yeah,
nice
that's what-
potholes in there.
Yeah, we'll fix the potholes. I don't think it's gonna, this grant will do the whole road either, so I think we'll start at one end and then we'll have to get another grant later on to do the rest of it.
Finish it.
But I wanna get it started before it gets too bad.
Yep.
And then at the same time, we're probably looking at like Green Mountain Road, repaving some of that and stuff, so try to budget some money for 2025 for that too. So, while we're doing it. Try to get ahead of it. Paving is just out of this road.
Yeah,
The cost of it, so. I think the last time Fuller Bridge was paved was right after the water system was put in, 2009. I think because the water system, we dug up some of the roads, so I think the we have money from the water system to help pay for repairing it when we had the project,
Yeah,
part of the project, so. I'm pretty sure 2009 or 10 was the last time it was paid,
okay. Do,
yeah.
okay. Only other item under Public Works is personnel. If this is something we want to pause and hit at the end of the meeting,
Yeah, that's probably something.
okay. Then we'll pass over personnel for now, and that brings us to visitors. And so with that, we will turn to Zoom, since we don't have anyone here in person. Larry, I think you and Anita were here first, so the floor is yours for visitors if you got something.
Yeah, I wondered what the results of the Australian ballots during town meeting were, as far as the town of Montgomery versus the totals.
Was it put on the website? Or
The Australian ballots for the
School vote?
school vote.
School vote and the Northwest Solid Waste District.
Oh, yeah.
I don't actually know off the top of my head.
Was it put on the website? I didn't
I
read
can
it.
check the
The
website.
school,
I did not see it on the website.
Oh, okay.
it is
Doesn't mean it
there.
isn't there.
It is there, Larry. It's under a new, you have to go over to government and then scroll down, but it is there.
Okay.
I couldn't find it either, and I had to call Liz.
Anita's looking for it. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry to not have that handy.
I thought it'd be right on the top of your mind. I really did.
Yeah.
Anything else, Larry?
Thanks for your feedback.
No. Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Sue, anything for visitors tonight?
Nope, nothing.
Okay. Thanks, Sue. Roberta, anything for visitors tonight?
Nothing for me either, just listening in.
Okay. Thanks, Roberta. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
All right, with that, we'll move on to old business. So the only item under old business for tonight is just a kind of a catch up on our special meeting last week. So we did have a meeting with the project engineers as well as Peter Pochop from the state, who's been our kind of V-Trans guy. And we went through all of the questions that we had. Starting off with the very high level question of like, keep it a state highway, what can stay,
Yeah.
right? And then we went through the individualized questions about, you know, why this, why that, can we get rid of this, how to do that. So the engineers have all of that, and they've started to look at, you know, responses to it and other ways we can do it. The most important takeaway from the meeting was that we basically said to Peter, Bethany was there too, we said to Peter, look, here are kind of the high level questions we've got about retention of the state highway, primarily around on-street parking and sidewalks, given the road width that V-Trans needs. So can you take these plans as it is with the notes from today's conversations and get the conversation started with the permitting end of V-Trans? Can't think of permitting services is basically. So Peter's going to basically start a conversation with permitting services to say, you know, at a high level, conceptually here, what is like a ain't never going to happen, what is a go ahead and do it, and what is a this would require a negotiation. And that way we can kind of take all the things we reviewed and put them into those kind of categories, so that if we want to look at, we're going to keep it a state highway, here are the things that we can do, and then here are the things that we might need to have negotiations on. One interesting point that Peter did make is, and I don't want to say this to like scare anybody, because even Peter said like V-Trans isn't going to screw with you, but that stretch of road for forever has had things going on with it that the state like, does not allow, but they allow it because it's always happened and it's basically grandfathered. So for example, like backing onto a state highway is not something that they would permit now. That intersection at 242 and 118, like backing out into that, like if we were designing something, building it new, they would never allow that to happen.
Yeah.
They've said to us basically like, we're not going to come in and all of a sudden just shut everything down, but I guess just be aware that as part of this, if any changes are made to that road, it does open an opportunity for V-Trans to say, okay, we're going to okay X, Y, and Z, but at the same time, these features that have always been there that you might not be looking at changing, we want you to change because they are unsafe, don't meet standards, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it was kind of just a heads up that as we go through permitting services, they're going to review the stuff that we want to do and kind of do what we talked about, but they might also flag some things down there that say, hey guys, since we're at it, like that, if you can change it, that, if you can change it. But
Well, I mean, that's why we're
Yeah.
looking at the options.
but that was kind of the takeaway that we all had from the meeting, was essentially to the engineers, you know, take a time out, pause.
Yeah.
We're going to get permitting
Yeah.
services back after their take, probably 2 weeks. Try to have a meeting with permitting services to go over all of that together. And then based on that, the board can then try to make a, you know,
Educated.
collective decision. So to that end, we're not going to look to have any kind of a butter meetings or public meetings this month. Again, the feeling I think everybody was that before we go into any public meetings, we want to have our act together and make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
So that's essentially the next step. Permitting services is going to take the plans, do a review, kind of separate things out into totally allowable, would only ever happen if it was a town highway, or could stay a state highway, but here's the negotiation.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yep.
In the sort of a similar vein as with the wastewater, where they basically the sense was that we can do this now because we have the funds and the grants and the loans, or we can do it, 20, 30 years down the road when it's mandated and we don't have those things. That was kind of my sense that came about. Is that sort of a similar feel from V-Trans, that like we're letting this slide and like grandfathering all this stuff for you, but 20, 30 years from now,
Yeah,
you're gonna have to do it.
He didn't really say it to that
Yeah.
extent. I mean, he did say like that intersection is something that V-Trans has wanted to redo for decades, but they haven't because they realize it's going to open a can of worms for the town, and they've kind of said, we're going to let sleeping dogs lie. So it wasn't like he said, if you don't do it now, we're going to do it for you.
Yeah.
I think his main point was kind of like, there are certain things that happen there exclusive of any changes that are not to code.
Yeah.
And again, he was very clear that like he's not looking to come in here and like blow our world up. But he did make a point that as part of this review, they would probably flag things that if they could be changed realistically and logistically, they'd want them changed too.
Yeah.
So by doing this, we could, we're sort of opening ourselves up to having to deal with some of those issues, I think is what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah, basically like by opening up any of this work, because any of the work we would do, we would have to get V-Trans buy-in, whether it was a state highway or a town highway. I mean, even going in and just simply redoing a sidewalk, they would have to sign off on it. And as part of that, they do a review of everything and say, okay, hey, by the way,
We do this anyway.
So
Yeah.
if we are sort of sitting here and saying we know that they're gonna flag like these two things, right? Like in that intersection, we have two like businesses
Yep.
that are going to be like drastically impacted if they don't have any parking.
Yeah.
I think that we should be looking toward solutions as part of this whole,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
I mean, I think what I'm hearing you say is like in looking at that intersection, they're gonna say like, you really have to stop backing out onto a state highway, which I understand the safety
Yeah.
issue, but
Yeah,
And the way that Peter described it, and he was pretty adamant that like he understands that things are the way they are because they've been that way, they were put in that way, and it's how they work. And in some cases, there is no alternative. So he kind of made it clear like there are situations where you can't change what's happening right now just because of the nature of history and what's there, and they're not going to come in like, you know, I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, we're not going to come in and all of a sudden be like, no more parking in front of Sylvester's. Because they understand like there's no way you could like make that any different.
yeah,
But what they could say is, hey, that municipal lot you got there, maybe we force you to change that so you're not backing out into traffic and you're designing a lot where you're coming and going through an entrance. You know?
yeah,
I mean, the same thing with like the Chopper Hilton, you know?
right.
The pull in, pull out parking there. So another one that he flagged, and he was like, well, you know, technically, like, we would never allow something like this, but it was built that way. It's functionally, that's the way it is. There's no room to do it differently. We're not going to, like, take away that guy's parking. So he was just kind of saying that,
He's
well, I
sympathetic.
mean,
yeah, be aware that this will open a review period for all of this.
well,
Where-
same as the old post office.
Right.
I mean, same way. You
Yeah.
drive in there and back up.
So it wasn't like it wasn't threatening. It wasn't like a shot
No.
across the bow. It was more just kind of a, hey, be aware that like as we review this, VTrans is probably going to flag a lot of things too. But hopefully those are things that are already aligning with things that we're looking at, and they might have
Yeah.
some creative solutions as well.
Yeah,
How we handle stuff.
yeah,
So for now, the plans have gone to VTrans. I think we're looking at maybe a couple week period to get them to review them, and then. Sorry, I'm just looking to see if we had a date set for a. We don't have a date set yet for that next meeting with them, but as soon as we get that set, I'll let everybody know so that we can
Okay.
attend it.
yeah.
So that's the kind of the feedback takeaway following up on our special meeting. And then, like I said, they also have like the detailed laundry list of, you know, what's going to happen to that tree and why is that green space there and why is that curb that big and we don't need that cross. So all the other little
Yeah.
stuff they've got to.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we gave them all the comments that we had.
Yeah.
They've got that to look at too.
Yeah, they have all those as well.
Yeah.
So, yep.
I guess that makes sense.
So that's it for old business. New business, we have a Conservation Commission related item here. So the Franklin County Natural Resource Conservation District was not awarded that last flood modeling grant request that we made last fall, if folks remember that. This is for the town property, Black Falls Brook, that whole intersection. Before applying for another grant opportunity, the Conservation Commission requested that the Conservation District hold a discussion meeting with Stacy Pomeroy, who's been our go-to river person here for everything, as well as Erin DeVries from the Vermont River Conservancy, as well as Lindsay Wright from MRBA, to make sure that pursuing flood modeling made sense. Everybody at that meeting was supportive and agreed that it was worthwhile to pursue this and advocated that they include upstream on the Trout River in Montgomery Center as well as part of the flood modeling.
Okay.
So based on that conversation, Lauren at the Conservation District has sent an application that they would like to submit. This is not something that we, the town, or the Conservation Commission is applying for the direct funds. The project holder here is going to be the Conservation District. We're a supporter, we're a partner. To that end, they have asked us to submit a letter of support, which just reads that we express our support for the Flood Resilient Communities Flood Project proposed by FCNRCD, etc., etc., etc. folks are welcome to read through it, but it's basically a boilerplate letter of support. Do folks want to read through it now, or do folks? I can read it out loud if you want. My voice isn't that great. Does anybody want to take a peek at it?
I would say.
Charlie?
Yep.
Charlie?
Yep.
Is anybody talking?
No, not right now. They're just reviewing a letter of support real quick.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. That's just, yeah.
Yeah, there's some other papers in there that aren't associated with the letter of support. The letter of support is
Yeah.
just
The first page.
yeah, the grant application is what's behind it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I would move that we submit the letter of support for the grant application.
I would second.
Thanks, Emily. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of submitting a letter of support, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carries. That brings us to liquor and tobacco licenses. We've got 2 of these for this evening. We have got a a first class, third class, and outdoor consumption permit for Lantern Holdings LLC. Let's take these separately just because, I don't know, do you want to abstain from one?
I was gonna ask if I
Yeah,
had to.
you don't have to, but they are an employer of yours, so probably good. All right, is there a motion to adopt, or a motion to approve the first class, third class, and outdoor consumption permit for Lantern Holdings LLC?
I'll make that motion.
Thanks, Leanne. Is there a second?
A second.
Thanks, Emily. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? 1 abstention from Suzanne. Next up is Taste Like Another. This is the snowshoe, first class, third class, outdoor consumption permit.
That's what we do.
Yep. Is there a motion to approve the first class, third class, and outdoor consumption permit for Taste Like Another?
I'll make a motion to accept that, to go with it, however you say.
Great, we have a motion to approve by Leanne. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Suzanne. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. And then we have 2 fleet permits, John French and Sons and Consolidated Communications.
So make a motion to approve the fleet permits for Consolidated Communications and John French and Sons Trucking Incorporated.
Great.
Consolidated was bringing up a tree service truck.
The tree fall.
No, it's just their wives are covered in trees all the way up and down.
Are they?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Finally got ours back after 3 days of not having it. Is there a second to Mark's motion to approve the slate?
A second.
Thanks. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Great. With that takes us through our business. We do have a personnel matter that we wanted to discuss. It sounded like it was one to cover in executive session due to, it had to do with personnel and contracts. Is there a motion to move into executive session?
I'll make a motion to move into executive session.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah,
Night,
thanks.
Sue.
Night, Sue.
Good night.
Good
Night,
night.
Larry.
Good night.
Night,
Good
Barbara.
night. All those in favor of moving into executive session, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, so we are now moving into executive session at 7:22 p.m. All right, so we are back. We've had a motion to exit executive session made by Suzanne, seconded by Emily. Passed, all in favor, so we're out of executive session at 7:28. Coming out of executive session, are there any motions to be made pertinent to the conversation?
I will make a motion to hire Billy Baker Senior at $30 an hour to help us grading this spring mud season and get the roads graded at least once or twice. And do training for the rest of the crew on the grader.
Great. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thanks, Leanne. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries. Great. With that, we are at the end of our agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there seconded by Suzanne? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adjournment, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. The meeting is adjourned at 7:29 p.m.